You yield 5 minutes to Representative Waltz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I just want to start out and make something very clear to all of our witnesses, everybody watching, to my colleagues. We would not be having these conversations if we did not consistently, certainly, well, I'll say from my perspective, if I did not consistently have soldiers, cadets, family members, and their extended networks incredibly upset, disturbed, offended, and bringing us things like how to understand your whiteness and white rage, a lecture taught at West Point, taught by a woman who said the Republican Party today, not years ago, not in history as part of a history class, today is a party of white supremacy, that white people are outraged by the advancement of black people. A lecturer at the United States Military Academy. And I can go on, and Mr. Chairman, I'll enter all of these into the record. Orientation training at the U.S. Air Force Academy. Recommending to brand new impressionable cadets, don't say mom and dad, say parent, don't say boyfriend, girlfriend, say partner, don't say colorblind. You know, I mean, we can go down the list. So I guess my point is, and to my colleagues as well, this isn't coming from us. I think deep down a lot of people think that Republican lawmakers are making this stuff up just to score political points. I would have no idea about any of it unless I had whole binders full that cadets and soldiers were bringing to us. So what you need to ask yourselves, and I said the same thing to your enlisted leaders across the services, why aren't they coming to your chain of command? I said this to the Air Force Academy superintendent. Why didn't they feel comfortable coming to him or his chain of command? Why did we have a conservative Muslim cadet who was disturbed and offended, didn't feel comfortable, or a Caucasian cadet who thought they would be canceled? You need to ask yourselves this as we deal with this recruiting crisis, and I ask you to pull those filters back and maybe look at kind of the other side of this equation. So we had the first African-American Secretary of Defense order a service-wide entire department, 2.5 million members, stand down over extremism in the ranks. Yet, and we had a hearing in this committee on the same topic, yet a year later, the Pentagon's own study shows 100 service members out of 2.5 million. In case everybody wants to do the math, that's 0.0004% engaged in any form of extremism. And we hear a lot about, well, we need a military that reflects society. In fact, the military is overrepresented compared to society, with by 2020 figures, 20% African American compared to 13%, 18% Hispanic compared to 18%. So I'm trying to figure out what is the crisis that you're trying to address, Mr. Cisneros. We have less than 0.001% engaging in extremism. We have a representation, a strong representation, a proud representation of minorities within our ranks. Why this focus on DEI?
I don't think there's a crisis that we're trying to address, but we want to ensure that all individuals.
We had a training stand down from the Secretary of Defense as the first order.
Well,
not on accidents, not on planes crashing, not on ships crashing, although those things are happening. We didn't have service-wide stand-downs then. We had one on extremism in the ranks, though the own study showed no extremism. And we have an overrepresentation. We do have a military that reflects society.
There are
my
cases,
colleagues would assert.
You just said yourself, sir, that there are cases of extremism. Now, you may say it's like not that many, but I think 100
We lose more people in accidents.
100 cases of extremism.
Out of 2.5 million?
100 too many. I mean, we had an individual just this month who got sentenced for trying to, as a neo-Nazi who
and that's horrific. I want to be clear and on the record. That should always be prosecuted. We should never stand for it any more than we should stand for those tweets. But I want to get, so the goal is the elimination then of any type of racism in the military? Because racism will always exist. So we have to look at priorities with limited dollars.
Well, I think we are looking at priorities, and Secretary Austin's priorities are defend the nation.
Can I just ask you very quickly, what's the difference in equality and equity? Equity is equal outcomes. How do you get equal outcomes in the United States military?
How do we get equal outcomes is by ensuring that everybody is treated equally. Ensuring that there is a,
that would be equal opportunity,
Well,
my friend. Equal outcomes is communism.
well, we want,
Gentleman's time has expired.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.